What do you think of when I say the words Native American history? If you're like me, you get curious. You attempt to learn and listen to what Native American people have to say. Thousands of tribes, all scattered across America, each diverse and rich with their own language and stories. Native American history is intimidating, but it's also American history. Native American history is very underappreciated and misrepresented. Native Americans helped carve much of what present day America really is. And all they get in our textbooks is genocide and savagery. A study done in 2015 by Penn State researchers state that 27 states don't even mention a single Native American individual by name. I would be the first to admit that Native American history is a pretty hard avenue to try to navigate through. Death, grief, tragedy, lies, all within Native American stories. These stories touch me, as I myself am Native American. All of my life, I've kind of felt disconnected between my roots due to not really knowing what being Native American truly is. I never grew up on a reservation, nor do I have many family left in order to tell me their stories. The story of Native American history is also the story of who I am as a person. Now, I would try to persuade you to at least think about including more Native American history in our U.S. history classes, and I want kind of more curriculum based on Native American history, and this is what this speech is essentially about. Now, the first reason of why kind of Native Americans are kind of neglected is pretty shocking. A lot of people don't really think they exist. In fact, I think this kind of lies within the fact that 87% of all Native American history in our textbooks is pre-1900s context. And that's pretty insane. We aren't kept up to date with what happens between Native American people and their tribes today. And I know this firsthand, as in my experience, I didn't even know I was Native American until I was 12. But that's a story for another time. There's so much disconnect within the Native American community in our culture that if we can't even keep up with what we're doing, how can we expect others to keep up with us as well? That's why I kind of want to talk about how misrepresented and problematic Native American history really is in our textbooks, and why it's kind of important to address that. American education neglects and hides their atrocities committed towards the Native American people in order to kind of preserve their idealistic, triumphant, we are the people ideas. The truth of the matter was the early founders wreaked havoc on early Native American settlers and their tribes. Teaching Native American history distorts that bubble and misconceptions Americans have towards a group of people whose culture is rich and beautiful. Allowing United States history classes to misrepresent Native Americans is kind of racist. It can lead to a lot of problems. Kind of like a few years ago, where a lot of people got really mad that the NFL was changing the name of a very, very disparaging stereotype towards Native American people. It's the Washington team. And they changed their name to the Commanders now, and a lot of people back there, I remember this on the internet, a lot of people were really mad and really were just confused. They were dumbfounded. They did not know that was a slur or that it was even racist to say. They didn't see anything wrong with it. But luckily, Native Americans did. There's a certain woman I want to talk about named Susan Harjo. She is a 76-year-old advocate who was trying to get the name changed even back then for a while. And she says, if it's permissible to say such things to Native Americans, then it's kind of deemed permissible to do such things to Americans and to Native Americans and to do anything to us. And that's why we kind of have to fight back towards these slurs and kind of get these things going also in our life. But it's kind of an indictment on the education system that this was such a big deal in the first place. I don't know how we managed to let this slide for decades. That team name was there for a long time. We haven't really truly processed who Native Americans are in our day-to-day lives. Now, I talked about how Native American history leads to misrepresenting stereotypes, and now I want to discuss how we can implement Native American courses and its history into a very straightforward curriculum. Now, firstly, I want to mention that a lot of students can benefit from the amount of community that is within Native American tribes. There's a certain teacher in North Carolina who teaches Native American history, and she says that it fits into her students' exploration of community seamlessly. The materials are very engaging and very student friendly, as well as very easily adaptable. Now, what would a curriculum look like for our schools? Luckily, there's an organization that kind of already did a bunch of research, and their name is Native Knowledge 360, and their whole goal is to attempt to educate Americans on Native American history. And luckily, their main website has a whole synopsis of what they do, and so it tackles shortcomings in the way in which Indigenous history is currently taught, and offers new perspectives on the Indigenous past. It's also pretty shocking how they mention what is required in order to succeed. And so all you need is 10 essential understandings, and that's not really a lot in order to very deeply throughout a whole K to 12 education system to only go through 10 essential understandings would not really be much of a hassle for many teachers. So some people might be curious about my analysis of Native American history and wonder, even if I wanted to try and learn Native American history, how can I? Luckily, there is a course here at DVC. It's a course based on Native American literature, and it teaches you a lot of its rich and beautiful stories. And it also helps you out. It's a fulfillment for an English credit towards your GEs. I am lucky to be a member of this class because it is honestly so riveting to hear all these experiences of like ancestors of myself. It's just very beautiful when I get to read Native American literature because it kind of keeps me in touch with this one side of me that I'm not really in touch with. So first, I talked about the neglect towards Native Americans as people. Second, I talked about how misrepresentation leads to damaging stereotypes and racism. And lastly, I discussed ways to overshadow the negativity and embrace ourselves into Native American history. Native Americans live amongst us as classmates and friends. I don't think I've ever shared my appreciation for being Native American. For vacations, I always went to Mexico and I always hung around Latinx people. I feel sometimes my identity is solely aligned with Mexicans, but I really want to make an effort to change that. And in doing so, I've really just felt more appreciative towards life and much more appreciative in general. And this is kind of what I want you guys to feel if you guys ever go through if you guys ever try to like learn new things about yourself. It's very engaging, very riveting, and very encouraging. And that is it.